The house was quiet except for the muffled sobs slipping past your trembling lips. You sat cold on the edge of your childhood bed, the same room you had once decorated with posters and dreams when life was simpler, when betrayal wasn't a word carved into your heart. Tears stained your cheeks, falling onto your palms as you pressed them hard against your mouth, as if silencing your pain could make it less real. Outside the door, Jungkook's voice broke the silence, his knuckles scraped against the wood, first soft then more urgent. Wine, please open the door. You pressed your forehead against your knees, shaking your head though he couldn't see you. I can't breathe without you. Just once look at me, scream at me, curse me if you must, but don't shut me out like this. His voice cracked on the last word, and for a moment your chest clenched at the sound of his desperation. You hated him for what he had done, hated yourself for still aching to hear his voice, for still wanting to believe him. Another knock, sharper this time. Wine, I'll stay here all night if I have to. Please don't do this to me. Don't do this to us. Your tears burn hotter us. The word felt like mockery now. Still, something inside you stirred the part of you that had once known nothing but his love, his devotion. Against your better judgment, you rose from the bed, wiping your face with trembling hands. The doorknob felt heavy in your grip. But at last, he twisted it and pulled the door open, and there he was, your husband, the man who had once carried your entire heart in his hands. His suit was rumpled, his tie askew, his eyes red rimmed and swollen with exhaustion. He looked nothing like the flawless CEO the world admired. He looked like a man on the brink of losing everything. For one fragile second, you wanted to fall into his arms. But then her arms slid around his waist from behind. Hannah, your stepsister, the ghost of his past. The woman who had been chipping away at your marriage since the day she returned. She clung to him as though she belonged there, pressing herself against him while you stood frozen in the doorway. Your heart didn't just break, it shattered into sharp fragments that seemed to lodge into your chest. You lifted your chin, your voice cold even as it trembled. So, this is what you wanted me to see, Jungkook? To crush me further, to prove that I was never enough. Jungkook's eyes widened, horror flashing across his face. He spun, ripping Hannah's arm off so roughly that she staggered back. No, wine it's not what you think. She just you laughed, bitter and broken, the sound dripping with fury. Don't insult me with excuses. My eyes work just fine. Your tears betrayed you, sliding silently down your cheeks as you stared at them. For once, you didn't hide them. You let him see every ounce of pain, every crack in your heart. And for the first time since Hannah returned, it wasn't you who looked weak, it was him. Jungkook stumbled forward, dropping to his knees in the hallway, his palms slammed against the floor as if drowning himself, his head bowed, voice hoarse with desperation. Wine, please believe me, I don't want her. I don't want anyone but you. Yes, once I loved her, but that was before you. You're my wife, you're my everything. Don't leave me, please. I can't live without you. You stare down at him, you're just having your tears refusing to stop. Once you would have melted at the sight of him on his knees, once you would have run into his arms, but that woman was gone. And yet here she is, holding you like she still has a claim. Tell me, Jungkook, do you want her? Do you want us both? A wife in one hand and a lover in the other? His head jerked up, shaking furiously. No, no, never. I swear I only want you. She means nothing to me. If she means nothing, then why am I standing here? Drowning in the pieces of our marriage while she clings to you. No, Jungkook, you have made your choice, whether you admit it or not. And with that, you turned and stepped back into your room, your door slamming shut between you, leaving him on his knees in the hallway, his broken sobs echoing in the silence of your parents' home. The night dragged on like a wound that refused to close. Jungkook's voice had ground hoarse from begging outside your door, his fists raw from knocking against the wood. You sat inside, clutching your chest, every sob ripping through your lungs, until you thought you would shatter entirely. Outside, his desperation turned toward the only person lingering in the hallway. Hannah. Hannah, she won't listen to me. Please help me. Tell her I can't lose her. Hannah tilted her head, her lips curving into something between pity. She stepped closer, her voice deceptively soft. Are you sure, Jungkook? Because it looks like you are already losing her. Maybe you have already lost her. He shook his head violently, his chest heaving. No, no, don't say that. She's my wife, she's everything. I need her to hear me just once. And that was the moment your door finally creaked open. Your swollen eyes, red from hours of crying, met his desperate gaze. You were trembling, fragile, yet burning with quiet fury. For a split second, his heart leaped with hope, but Hannah moved faster. Before either of you could react, she seized his face in her hands and pressed her lips against his. Time stopped, the air left your lungs, replaced with the sharp sting of betrayal. You stood frozen in the doorway, your vision blurring as if the universe itself was mocking you. Chunguk's eyes went wide in shock, his body stiffening. He pushed her away with brutal force, the sound of the show echoing in the corridor. What? Hannah, don't you dare, don't you ever. He wiped his lips with the back of his hand as though her touch had poisoned him. But the damage was already done. You stood there trembling, your hands balled into fists at your sides. Your voice quivered with rage, cutting through the silence like shattered glass. So, this is what you wanted me to say, Jungkook, to break me even more, to remind me that I'll never be enough. Your tears fell fast, hot, merciless. Jungkook stumbled toward you, falling to his knees as though his legs could no longer hold the weight of his sin. Don't believe her. Don't believe what you saw. I don't want her. I don't want you. Yes. Yes, I once loved her, but that was years ago. When you were my wife, you were my life. I can't lose you, not you. You stared down at him, your expression carved from steel, though your soul was collapsing inside. So, what is it then, Jungkook? You want both of us? A wife to stand by your side and a mistress to suit your past. His head jerked, shaking violently, panic etched across his features. No, never. I only want you. I swear it on everything I am. But you had heard enough. You had seen enough. Your dignity rose like armor around your shattered heart. Then stay with her because I won't fight for a place in your heart. And with that, you turned away, leaving him kneeling on the floor, his hands trembling, his body shaking with sobs as Hannah stood frozen, and your heart walked further from him than it ever had before. Your suitcase rested by the door of your old childhood room, zipped tight with clothes you had packed in silence while your parents slept. Every fold of fabric felt like a piece of your heart being tucked away, hidden, suffocated. The weight of your decision pressed down on you, yet it was the only path left. Staying mean, drowning in the shadow of a love that wasn't yours alone anymore. You didn't tell Jungkook, you couldn't, because if you looked at him one last time in that house, if you let him beg again, maybe you would shatter completely. But fate never played fair. Hannah leaned lazily against the doorframe, her arms crossed, lips curved in that infuriatingly smart smile. So, you are leaving without saying goodbye? How dramatic, sister. You refuse to look at her, focusing instead on lifting your bag. I don't owe you a goodbye or an explanation. Hannah's laugh was soft but cruel, the sound scraping against your nerves. Maybe not, but you owe him one. Should I tell him for you that his precious wife couldn't handle the truth? You finally looked at her, eyes sharp through the mist of your tears. If you think you have won, Hannah, you haven't. You can have what's left of him. Just remember he begged me on his knees before he ever looked at you. Her smirk faltered for the first time, but she quickly masked it with false sweetness. I'll tell him anyway. He deserves to know you have abandoned him after all. Maybe you were never strong enough to stay. With those venomous words, she strutted down the hall, and you knew without a doubt she would deliver the news in the most twisted way possible. Jungkook's world shatters. When Hana found him in his study, Jungkook looked like a man stripped of sleep and sanity, his tie loose, shirt wrinkled, hands trembling from too many cigarettes left to burn out halfway. She's leaving you today. Jungkook's flight is already booked. Maybe she realized she doesn't belong in your life after all. The words detonated in his chest. His pen clattered from his hand, his eyes going wide. What? What did you just say? She's going overseas right now. I thought you should know. For a second, silence reigned, then the storm inside him erupted. Jungkook shoved past her so violently she stumbled, his footsteps pounding like gunfire as he bolted out of the house. His car engine roared to life, tires screeching against asphalt, carrying him toward the one place he prayed wasn't already too late. You stood at the departure gate, passport in one hand, your ticket trembling in the other. The announcement for boarding echoed through the terminal, each word hammering the final nails into your marriage's coffin. You told yourself not to cry, not here, not now, but your vision blurred anyway. Then suddenly, Wine, his voice cut through the crowd, raw, desperate, cracking on your name, you turned and there he was. Jungkook, breathless, hair messy, his expensive coat half buttoned, eyes bloodshot and wild with panic. He stumbled toward you, nearly colliding with a businessman rushing past. But he didn't care. When he reached you, his chest was having tears brimming. Wine, please. I respect your decision if you want to leave, but I beg you don't hate me. Don't carry me in your heart as something you regret. Forgive me just once, please. Your lips quivered, your heart bleeding inside your chest. But your voice came out calm, still wrapped around the pieces of you he had broken. Fine, Jungkook, I forgive you, but don't ever think I'll come back to you again. His tears finally broke free, slipping down his cheeks. He reached for you like a drowning man reaching for air. Please don't go. Before you could respond, a familiar hand tugged at yours. Horsuk, your oldest friend, stood firm beside you, his voice gentle but urgent. Wine, it's time, we will miss the flight. Jungkook's face crumpled. He grabbed you suddenly, crushing you into his arms. His body shook against yours, his sob steering from his chest loud and uncontrollable, the kind of grief words could never capture. Don't do this, please. I can't lose you. It's killing me. Tears slipped from your eyes despite your resolve. Soaking into his heart, your arms twitched as if to hold him back, but Hosuk's firm grip pulled you away. Enough, Jungkook, she's made her choice. Jungkook collapsed to his knees on the cold terminal floor, his cries echoing after you as Hosuk guided you toward the gate. You didn't look back, you couldn't. Because if you did, maybe you would break. The last thing you heard was his shattered whisper, carried faintly over the queues of the airport. Wine, please. And then he was gone from sight, left behind in his ruin, drowning in the regret of a lifetime. 6 months later, the air smelled different. The salty breeze from the coast swept through your balcony, carrying with it a quiet kind of peace you had not felt in years. The city skyline stretched wide before you, foreign, unfamiliar, yet strangely comforting. Your new life overseas was not glamorous, but it was yours. You had found a small apartment, started working with Hosuk's business contacts, and filled your days with things that reminded you of you painting, reading, Sipping coffee alone at dawn, slowly the echoes of his voice had begun to fade, though sometimes at night you still woke up reaching for a warmth that wasn't there. You missed him. The truth lingered like an ache in your chest, but missing him no longer meant belonging to him. Meanwhile, across the ocean, Jungkook was no longer the man who once carried the world in his palm. The mansion felt like a mausoleum. It was empty, haunted by the ghost of your laughter. He had buried himself in work, but every deal closed, every drink swallowed, only left him emptier. He would sit in his study late at night, staring at the door you once used to walk through, whispering into the silence. Wine, just once, just come back once, but the door never opened. One evening, you received a package at your new address. Inside was a single letter, no return name, but you knew the handwriting instantly sharp strokes, softened by trembling hesitation. Jungkook's letter. I don't deserve to write to you, but if these words reach you, know that not a day passes where I don't regret. I see you in everything, the rain on my window, the empty side of the bed, the silence after midnight. I won't beg you anymore. I only want you to live, to smile, even if it's never because of me again. That would be enough punishment for me. Yours, no matter the distance, Jungkook. You held the letter to your chest, tears slipping quietly down your cheeks. For the first time, they were not tears of pain, they were the final release of a love that had burned too fiercely to survive. You whispered into the night, not for him to hear, but for yourself. Goodbye, Jungkook. And under a different sky, you finally let him go.